You are touching a miracle right now. It's in your pocket. It's in your windows. It's inside the cables bringing you this video at the speed of light. Glass. We take glass for granted because it's designed to be invisible. But the history of this material is written in blood and state secrets. Today, we're uncovering the hidden blueprint of transparency. From the Venetian glass mafia who murdered defectors to keep their recipes secret, to the window tax that plunged entire cities into a dark age, and the accidental 17th century invention that created the global supply chain. This isn't just a story about sand. It's the story of how a transparent liquid taught humanity how to see. This is the hidden history of glass. To understand glass, you have to accept a paradox. It is a solid that behaves like a liquid. In almost every other material, like the steel in your car or the diamond on a ring, the atoms are arranged in perfect repeating grids. But glass is different. Its atoms are a chaotic, disordered mess, frozen in time as if they were still flowing. It is, quite literally, a liquid that forgot how to move. Before humans ever touched a furnace, nature was the master glassmaker. When lightning strikes a beach, the intense heat, over 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit, instantly fuses sand into delicate, hollow branching tubes called fulgurites. When volcanoes erupt, they spew out obsidian, a jet-black volcanic glass. Stone Age humans discovered that obsidian could be flaked into edges so sharp they are still used today in specialized heart surgeries. A steel scalpel is a blunt instrument compared to a fresh flake of volcanic glass. But the true hidden history begins 3,500 years ago in Mesopotamia. Pure silica sand, the main ingredient in glass, has a melting point so high, 1,700 degrees Celsius, that ancient wood fires couldn't melt it. The breakthrough wasn't the fire, it was the flux. Ancient makers discovered that adding soda ash made from burned desert plants acted as a chemical wedge. It lowered the melting point by nearly half. Suddenly, the unreachable was workable. For the first 2 millennia, glass was white gold. It was used for the perfume bottles of queens and the amulets of pharaohs. It was a luxury for the 1%. But that luxury was about to become a state-protected weapon of industrial power. By the 1200s, Venice had become the Silicon Valley of the ancient world. They had discovered the secret to cristallo, the first truly clear, colorless glass. In a world of murky, green-tinted bottles, Venetian glass looked like frozen water. It was the ultimate status symbol of the Renaissance. But a secret this valuable couldn't be left to the free market. In 1291, the Venetian Republic issued a decree. Every glass furnace in the city was to be dismantled and moved to the island of Murano. The public reason was fire safety. Venice was a wooden city. The real reason? Containment. Murano became a gilded prison. Glassmakers were elevated to nobility. They could wear swords and marry into the aristocracy, but they were forbidden from leaving the island on pain of death. The Council of Ten, Venice's secret police, enforced a code of silence. To share a recipe for cristallo was high treason.
If a master glassmaker fled to a rival kingdom, the council didn't send a diplomat, they sent a professional assassin. Records in the Venetian archives suggest that state-sponsored terminations were carried out across Europe to protect this monopoly.
The highest stakes were the mirror wars of the 1660s. King Louis XIV of France was obsessed with mirrors for his palace at Versailles. At the time, a mirror the size of a window cost as much as a naval warship. Louis XIV's ministers successfully bribed 3 Venetian masters to defect to Paris. Venice's response was brutal. They sent agents to Paris who allegedly poisoned the defectors in their own workshops. When you look at your reflection today, you are looking at a technology that men once died to keep secret. While Venice was protecting its art, England was facing an environmental catastrophe. By the 1600s, the island was running out of trees. The Royal Navy needed every oak in the country for its ships. In 1615, King James I issued a desperate decree. It was now illegal to burn wood for industrial furnaces. Glassmakers were forced to switch to coal. This changed the glass itself. Coal fires were hotter and dirtier. To prevent the glass from becoming brittle, makers changed the recipe, adding iron and manganese. The result was a thick, dark, olive green material known as black glass. It was ugly compared to Venetian glass, but it was virtually indestructible. This was the English bottle. It was the first container strong enough to be corked under the massive pressure of fermentation. Without this accidental strength, the champagne industry could never have existed. The bottles would have exploded. More importantly, it allowed for the birth of the global supply chain. These bottles could be packed into ships and sent to India or Australia without shattering. Before the shipping container, the coal-fired glass bottle was the vessel that built the global empire. The British Empire wasn't just built on gunpowder, it was built on a bottle that refused to break. As glass moved into the homes of ordinary people, the government saw a golden opportunity. In 1696, England introduced the window tax. The logic was, the more windows you have, the richer you are. But it backfired. People didn't pay, they bricked up their windows. Across great cities, entire apartment blocks were turned into dark, airless shells. This wasn't just an architectural oddity, it was a public health disaster. In the dark, damp rooms of the urban poor, diseases like typhus and cholera thrived. Light is a natural disinfectant. By taxing it, the government was effectively taxing the lives of its citizens. The law lasted for 150 years. If you walk through London or Edinburgh today and see those bricked-in rectangles on old buildings, you are looking at the blind windows, a physical scar of a 150-year war over the right to see the sun. When the tax was repealed in 1851, we entered the age of the Crystal Palace. Vast structures of glass. But this shift had a psychological cost, the death of privacy. For thousands of years, the home was a stone fortress. With plate glass, we began living in fish bowls. We traded the security of the stone wall for the invisible wall of the glass pane. While some built walls, others built eyes. When we learned to grind glass into curves, lenses, We didn't just see better, we saw a different reality. In the 13th century, the first spectacles appeared. Suddenly, a scholar's working life didn't end at 40 when their eyesight failed. We doubled the intellectual lifespan of the human race. Then came the microscope. For the first time, we saw the bacteria that were killing us. Without glass lenses, modern medicine, vaccines, surgery, germ theory is impossible. Simultaneously, the telescope turned our eyes outward. In 1610, Galileo used a tube of Murano glass to look at Jupiter. What he saw shattered the worldview of the Church. He saw moons orbiting another planet, proving the Earth was not the center of everything. That single piece of glass triggered the scientific revolution. It taught us that the universe was far larger and far more indifferent to humans than we ever imagined. But the miracle has a shadow. Glass production is energy intensive, and we are running out of the right kind of sand. You can't make glass out of desert sand. The grains are too round. You need angular sand from riverbeds and ocean floors. Today, silica sand is the most consumed resource on Earth after water. Sand mafias are dredging ocean floors and destroying ecosystems to fuel our glass cities. We are literally consuming the foundations of our planet to build the transparency of our future. We do not just look through glass, we look with it. From the fiber optic cables carrying this video to your screen, to telescope mirrors looking back billions of years, we have built the future out of transparency. Next time you look in a mirror, remember the Venetian assassins and the bricked-up windows of London. You aren't just looking at a material, you're looking at the secret blueprint of the modern world.